Kids, you have all heard of the United Nations, UN, and UN is involved in many things, of course. Climate change under the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, long name UNFCCC. UN also has an environmental project, development, migrants, health, and of course peace and so on. Under the UNFCCC, all the countries, well, almost all the countries, come together and year after year they discuss the issues of emissions, mitigation, adaptation, and so on. Some of the words you haven't heard of yet, maybe, but we'll define them a little bit later in other podcasts. Remember, there is no need to get depressed about our seeming inability to agree on everything about climate change. It's a so called wicked problem, which means it doesn't have a simple solution. But humanity has solved the ozone hole problem, which was being created by the emission of refrigerants which have chlorine in them, CFCs, and they were going into the stratosphere and causing reactions that depleted the ozone, which is bad because if the UV that is being trapped by the ozone comes to the lower parts of the atmosphere where we live, then we will all get burned. It's dangerous, it causes damage to the DNA and so on. So in 1987, the Montreal Protocol was created where all the countries decided to stop producing CFCs and replace them with HFCs, HCFCs, and so on, which have turned out to be greenhouse gases. So now we are trying to replace them as well, and that replacement is being dealt with under the so-called Kigali extension to the Montreal Protocol. The short story is that we are capable of coming together and working together to solve the problems. But the ozone hole problem was simple. Everybody was going to get affected negatively, and there was a solution of replacing CFCs by HFCs. Climate change is not such a simple problem. There are lots of impacts. They are very location specific, and everybody is emitting. Historically, some have emitted more than others. So, how do we assign responsibilities? How do we pay for them? How do we slow down our economic growth so that we can all reduce our emissions and so on? So, complicated problems take more time, and we will get there, kids. Don't worry about it, okay?